Sean Dyche low block hits again, but I specifically waited to record this video because I wanted to see what Manchester City did, and good thing I did. So yes, Everton 1, Arsenal 0. Arsenal lose their second game of the season, but it actually becomes quite irrelevant because of what happened today. Manchester City and Tottenham actually won 1-0 with Harry Kane breaking Jimmy Greaves' record and with his 267th goal for Tottenham Hotspur, and he wins it 1-0 for Tottenham against Manchester City. And in the weirdest of ways, Arsenal, who play 19th in the table Everton, and they lose at Goodison Park, can actually leave the weekend feeling better than Manchester City, which is not what I thought I'd be saying Saturday morning kickoff when it happened. What do you guys think in the comments down below about the games? And we're going to talk about them. We'll talk about both a little bit. Let's start with Everton and Arsenal. Let's forget the City game for a second and just look at it as a whole. I told you guys in the preview what would happen. Nasty low block, 4-4-2. It was going to happen. It was on its way. I was maybe a little bit wrong. It was a 4-5-1, 4-4-1-1, but it was essentially what Sean Dyche came in to do. Hard work, double up on Saka and Martinelli, put the low block in, and counter, essentially. However, Everton did way better than that. They were able to actually generate a lot of chances. If you look at the game as a whole, they created the most chances. Arsenal played well. They controlled the game to an extent, but I think Sean Dyche always had them kind of where they wanted them. The closest chance for Arsenal really came on a Saka volley that got cleared off on the line. But other than that, Jordan Pickford didn't really have a lot to do. So credit to Sean Dyche. Credit to Everton. It was bad luck on Arsenal's part to come against them, but I think it's a learning lesson for them. That was my thought process there. But I also thought it was a bad loss because you just can't be losing to teams at the bottom of the table when you're chasing the title. Now, for Arsenal, they have built a good cushion, 50 points halfway through the season. Again, only one team ever has gotten to 100 through the whole entire season. So they have the cushion to give up a little bit of ground and to mess up here and there. This was the bump in the road. Everyone thought it'd still be okay. It'd be fine. No one overreacts. They're not going to bottle the league or anything like that. That was the thought process coming out of that game. It's very clear that some players have to perform better. Ben White, 2 bad games in a row, has to perform better in the right back area. Martin Odegaard was pretty much invisible that game. That's because the midfield 3 just essentially congested the entire midfield. You had the Jorginho substitution, which a lot of the Arsenal fans wanted to then blame Jorginho on that. And it was all meh. It was not the best day at the office. And all credit to Sean Dyche and Everton. I think that was the consensus amongst everyone, is that they did a fantastic job, and they were just able to bog down the league leaders. And then today came around, and we were expecting Manchester City to maybe take advantage, cut the gap down to 2 points, with Arsenal having 1 game in hand, and they were not able to do it. Pep Guardiola's men were not able to do it, and this is what I mean by City actually feel worse. Arsenal they didn't play well, but they were decent. Manchester City were awful. They were nowhere near anything that they were supposed to be doing. Their pattern of play is slow. We all know Erling Haaland changes how they play, but it was completely different. It was just not what Manchester City wanted to do. Rodri had one of the worst games I've ever seen him have, giving the ball away on the goal, but also giving the ball away just multiple times, not being able to get the diagonal passes or anything like that. And it was just really, really interesting to see that right there. Not playing Kevin De Bruyne is not a surprise, because he did the same thing against Tottenham a few weeks ago. It's not really a surprise. But the way Manchester City are playing, I think Arsenal can feel very confident, because it's very, very clear this Manchester City team are not going to gel like they used to, because they just don't play the same way. When you had the wingers like Leroy Sané, and you had Gabriel Jesus as a false 9, or not even a number 9, or you put him on the wing, and you had Raheem Sterling in his prime, and you had these fast, tricky, pacey wingers, then you had Kevin De Bruyne and Ilkay Gundogan and Bernardo Silva kind of controlling things in the middle. You had Fernandinho cleaning up in the back. It was all, Kyle Walker in his prime on the right-handed side, a little bit inverted, but, really able to put in wicked crosses. It was just very fast-flowing, intricate football. And Erling Haaland does change that. Not for the worse, not for the better. It's just different. The guy has scored. He's going to break the goal-scoring record for a single Premier League season. It's not his fault. No one's putting blame on him, but it's just football's a team game. There are 11 players on the pitch. One player is going to determine really a lot of how you play. Erling Haaland doesn't have the same link-up play as a false 9. He's not a false 9. He makes runs in behind. He's there in the box, ready to attack. He's fast, he's powerful, he's strong. And he requires a different type of plan behind him. You could see the amount of runs he was making today. He was making runs trying to get behind the central defense. And Manchester City, the midfielders, after so many years training under Pep Guardiola, they are trained to play this tiki-taka, fast-paced kind of game. And with Erling Haaland, you can't do that because he's not coming short. He might come short sometimes, but he will eventually go through the gaps, punch through the hole, try to get it, be on the shoulder of the defender, and run through. And it requires a completely different way of playing because the man on the ball has to be ready for that and try to release him. And you got to do it perfectly before the goalkeeper, sweeper keeper comes out at you. And so it's just a little bit more difficult. And I think Manchester City are just struggling with that. They're struggling trying to understand with one less player in the midfield how to play. And while they struggle to do that, Arsenal play how Manchester City used to play. They have strikers like Eddie Nketiah and Manchester City's previous striker, Gabriel Jesus, coming short. They have Zinchenko, Manchester City's previous left back, coming into midfield, overloading midfield. You have Odegaard controlling the space. Quick, fast-paced passing, trying to get the Saka, trying to get the Martinelli, create the width. Remember when I said Leroy Sané, Raheem Sterling. Now you have Bukayo Saka, you have Gabriel Martinelli on the sides. You have fast, tricky, pacey wingers. All Arsenal are basically what Manchester City were, with few variations and tweaks from Mikel Arteta. It's not a surprise. It's not a secret. Mikel Arteta worked with Pep Guardiola. We all knew this is what Arsenal were going to become. The biggest difference is that City have changed. And right now, could they become better in the future, next season maybe later in this season? Yeah. But it's going to take a lot of time, and that's what opens the door for Arsenal. So, after the weekend, it's the same. One more game played. Arsenal still have a 5-point lead with one game in hand. It's all going to come down to February 15th. It really will. I believe that is when this is going to be decided, because the second game between City and Arsenal is in late April. It's in late April. Isn't it only about, I think, maybe 4 or 5 more games after Arsenal have to travel to the Etihad on April 26th. There's a lot that's going to go on before that. If Arsenal are able to get a victory against Manchester City, put the lead into double digits maybe, with less than half of the season to go, with the current way Manchester City are playing, I don't think Arsenal will get caught. So we are in crunch time. First of all, Arsenal have to get the job done against Brentford. We'll do a match preview for that. Manchester City have to find a groove, because at the current moment, if Manchester City come to the Emirates and we have to predict the winner, I don't see how you can pick Manchester City, because Arsenal and that crowd and that fan base and the passion and the energy, they will suffocate City. They will suffocate them. There will not be space to play. And so we are going to see how it comes out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are we being too harsh on Manchester City? Are we overreacting a little bit? But the point is, they should have closed the gap today against Tottenham. And it's not just not getting the result, it was the performance. The performance was just subpar. And even when they played Arsenal in the FA Cup against the second-string Arsenal team, again, until Partey came out, the performance was not really there. Will City get back? And Manchester United only 3 points behind as well. Can't forget about them. They don't really feel there, but they are there because Manchester City are slipping up. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Peace out.